Now, the sharper-eyed amongst you will notice that this isn't CameraBag. No, it isn't. This is Photoshop. It's the latest version. This is considered to be the industry standard when it comes to editing photographs, and it's got all kinds of really fancy things in there. It's incredibly powerful and hugely expensive. Okay, so I've shown you this so you can get all jealous. No, I haven't. This picture is too yellow. It needs some adjusting. But within Photoshop, there's something called color balance. And as you can see, it's got red, green and blue on one side, cyan, magenta and yellow on the other side, and you can adjust it. Okay, at the moment, it's too yellow. A bit too red as well, so I can take the midtones and I can make things more blue than yellow, and you can see the picture getting adjusted. I can also do that with the shadows as well. Also with the highlights, I can even up the yellow on the highlights if I want. I can also add a bit more magenta, I can add in a bit more cyan or what have you. It's quite a powerful system. We don't have anything like that in CameraBag, but we can make something like this. Before we do, just a little bit of color theory. Come up to here, right up to this top right corner. These are your red, green and blue sliders, and every single unit on your screen is called a pixel. It's made up of a red value, a green value and a blue value. Now at the moment this color here is red 255. If I make it 0, 0, 0, you've got black. If I make it 255, 255, 255, it's all completely white. If I make it red 255, green 255, I get a yellow color. If I start sliding down the green slider, I start to get orange. If I put the sliders in a diagonal line like this, I get kind of a lightish color brown. If I move them down some more, I get a darker brown. If I move up the blue, I get more of a purpley kind of a color. There's about 16.2 or 16.8 million colors which you can make up out of all of this, and the human eye, it's reckoned, can pick up about 10 million colors. So that's most of the colors pretty much covered. So what you need to take from this is every part of your picture is made up of a red value, a green value and a blue value, and most of the time they vary between 0 and 255. The other thing to note as well, remember with color balance, you had red on one side, cyan on the other, green on one side, magenta on the other. When it comes to the color wheel, they're opposites. I'll show you what I mean by that. So red and cyan. If you take all the red out of this, you're left with cyan. If you take all the green out, you're left with this magenta color. If you take all the blue out, you're left with yellow. And sure enough, yep, that bears that out there. These are the opposites of each other. Okay, let's say goodbye to this. We don't need it. No, we don't want to save. Ah, there it is in CameraBag now. What can we do about this? Well, in the last video, we already looked at color corrector. There it is. At the moment, it's on yellow, which, yep, it's red 255, green 255. But if I place that so it is 0, and I flatten this curve out as much as I can, so it's not having an effect either way, there's my red channel. I'm going to change this, because I found the previous one, tint worked best for me. I'll change this to tint. I'm also going to call it 2 more. So come to the second one. I want this to affect the green channel. So I'm going to make it 0, red, 255, green, 0, blue. I'm going to change that to tint. Go to my final one here. I'm going to make that red 0, green 0, and blue 255, and change that to tint. Let's make that as much as possible neutral, and this as much as possible neutral. And I'm going to save this configuration, hit plus, and I'm going to call this AA Color Balancer 01. Alright, what can we do with this? Well, you can see that it's very yellow. Now, yellow is made up when you mix red and green together. Let's come to our red channel. Let's try pulling that down a bit. Immediately, I'm getting a slightly less in-your-face tone there. But if you remember, we had shadow, midtones and highlights in Photoshop. You've got that here as well. Look, this dot on the end you can drag down. That's your highlights. I'm pulling those down as well. If I want the shadows to be warmer, I can up the reds. Like that. I've got this amount of control. And also, I can shift the bias as well. I can make it so the lighter red values are affected more if I do that, or I can make it so the darker reds I'll pull down a little bit more. If I do that, I can also put an extra point in there. See, I can start to do all kinds of rather interesting things with this. Things which, using the colour balance feature in Photoshop, I couldn't do. So we've got something here which is more flexible than that feature in Photoshop. Go us! I want to flatten this out. If you want to get rid of a dot, just pull it right the way down and bang, it's gone. I want to take a look at the blue first. I think the main channels to take a look at are the red channel and the blue channel. So I'm going to take a look at the blue. That middish blue there I could do with being upped a little bit. Yeah, and already it's starting to look a little bit nicer. I could also do with maybe that lighter blue sky to have a little bit more blue in there. So I'm going to adjust the overall bias of this towards the lighter end of the spectrum there. Alright, I'll go with that. And also the red now. That definitely needs taking down. Let's take in the middle part first. Something that's looking a little bit tamer there. Do I need to do anything with the lighter end? If I take too much, it starts to look weird. I'm just getting too much cyan in there. I don't really want that. Rather than do that, I'm just going to change the bias a little bit there. Alright, I'll go with that for now, and let's turn it all off to see what we've done. Without the balancing, looking very, very yellow. With the balancing, looking much more natural. This is going to give you a lot of flexibility over your pictures. In a way, this is starting to look rather similar to what is the Rolls-Royce of colour correction, which is curves. We'll take a look at curves in the next video. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, maybe you consider clicking on one of the links below and check out my game called Disco Baby, which is on the iTunes Store or Android stores like Google Play. It has 3 different games in it, a memory game, a maths game for children, and a dance along with me game for toddlers to join in with. Thanks for your time.